Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about how to make the S sound. For this sound, our tongue should be behind our front top teeth here, and we're going to push a stream of air out the front center portion of our mouth. We don't want to push air out the sides, but we want to make sure that the air is coming out the center. So we take a breath and push that air out the front center with our tongue behind our front teeth. Let's talk about some common errors that we might see with our S sound. The first one we often see in younger kiddos, and it would be a T substitution. So soap might sound like taupe. For this one, they actually have their tongue in the right area. When we make our T sound, our tongue tip touches what we call our alveolar ridge right behind our front teeth. And you can feel it with your tongue. It's a little rough patch back right behind our front teeth. And so when we make our T sound, you can feel our tongue tip touch that alveolar ridge. T, t, t. The only difference for our S sound is that our tongue tip might drop down a little bit off that alveolar ridge, and you can feel that when you go from a T to an S. Tss, tss. So our tongue tip drops down a tiny bit, and we're extending that airflow obviously longer than a T. So something that we might do for these younger kiddos is use like an arm or a leg, and have them extend that S sound while they drag their finger from the top of the arm to the bottom. Once they have that down, you can add a vowel to the end of it to make a consonant-vowel combination, like so, say. Once they have that down, you can add another consonant to make a consonant-vowel consonant word, like soap, sat. Once they have it down at the word level, we typically start working in phrases like the soap or he sat, where we string a couple words together. And then we can start working at the sentence level. I used the soap. He sat on the couch. Another common distortion that we hear is called a interdental or frontal lisp. And this is where our tongue tip is coming out the front of our top and bottom teeth here. And I'm not the best at replicating this, but it might sound something like this. And you can see that tongue tip is coming out where it should be behind our front teeth. So that's the cue that we just give our students. We often use a mirror so they can see where their tongue is and then help them correct it and just remind them that our tongue needs to be behind our teeth. Another distortion that we hear is called a lateral distortion or a lateral lisp. And this is when they're pushing the airflow out the sides of their mouth. And once again, I'm not great at replicating this, but it might sound like So for these students, we often use the T sound to help them know where their tongue is and where the airflow should be coming out of their mouth. So we might start with a T repetition for them, t, 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 and then have them extend that into an S sound. T, t, tss, t, t, tss. You might see some students shift their mouth or their lips when they're starting their S sound, so it might be t, t, and you can see that they're switching where their airflow is coming out. And we want to remind them that our tongue and our airflow comes out the same spot as it does for our T into our S. And a mirror again can be helpful for them to see what they're doing with their mouth. And our lips don't have to move at all for our S sound. So those are the common errors that we see with our S sound. It's important to know that also our Z sound is the same thing. So the only difference for our S and our Z is we turn on our voice to say our Z sound. So our tongue placement and everything is the same for our Z. We just turn on that voice. S, Z. If your child is producing their S in a different way or these tips aren't really helpful for you, reach out to your speech pathologist and they can hopefully give you some tips for how to help your child. Thank you.